Originally, this video was split into two duels, but I decided that I would cut it down to just one so that I could showcase a new deck that I'm working on, the archetype of S-Force. Now, I am just using this as like a very base minimum for the deck. I'm still working on it and making it better, so yeah, enjoy. Like I said, guys, we're going to be using the S-Force archetype, and this was like, I literally just took all the cards with S-Force in them, kind of threw them into a deck, and called it good enough for now. Like, my extra deck has a bunch of Link monsters. I've got S-Force Justify, but really not doing too much extra rather than just learning what S-Force itself can do. S-Force Justify can be insane depending on how your opponent plays. Essentially, when you get this out onto the field, you can negate one effect monster and you can move it to one of the three zones that this card points to. Then when you get into battle, any monster in these three zones that are being pointed to, they get banished. So if you have an opponent with, three really strong monsters, but they aren't unaffected by monster effects, they just have really high attack, you can use something like this, knock all three out. If you have something that can't be targeted by target effect, but it's in one of those three monster zones, you can use this effect and knock it out because it's at the start of the damage step and it doesn't actually target a monster for this effect. There are other effects of monsters in the deck where you put it on the field, you bring it back to your hand, and you summon something else out. Those are good for not just the turn that you're on, but the following turn. It allows you to always have some type of resource in your hand, even if you just need like a defensive wall the turn after making a really big play. And in some cases, you can even use them after they were put on the field and put them back on the field with other cards. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. In particular, this card, Rappa Chiyomaru, you put her on the field and you bring her back to your hand to special summon a monster. And then Platina. Oh man, okay. This is a lot to go over, guys, but you put this on the field, you banish a monster from your hand, and you bring it back to your hand and you special summon. If you special summon Platina, you can special summon a card that was banished. So whatever you banish from your hand to activate Rappa, you get onto the field. In Orphist, he can negate, right? Yes, target any of their monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters with card effects. When a monster your opponent controls activates its effect, you can banish one S-Force card from your hand, destroy that monster. This is good because I just bounced this back to my hand, so I can use his effect and bounce anything that they have off the field, or any monster that they have off the field. Now, it does say that you banish it, not necessarily that its effect is negated. But this one's, I'll keep explaining as we go. We have the trap here where depending on how many S-Force monsters I control, I can return that many cards to the hand. There are some cards that you just never want to return to the hand, those that have really good placing effects or normal summon effects, because you saw that they did still get the effect of their Dogmatica card. But at this point, I knew that they didn't really have an available combo ready, so I decided I'd keep going for it. Because I believe Dogmatica, that one in particular, had two effects, and they just used its summoning effect, so essentially I was in the clear. Now I go to punch this, banish it, so it doesn't, I don't take damage, I don't deal any damage. But it does end the battle phase there, which does kind of stink. Which is why it's important to keep other cards in your main monster zone as well. I go ahead and I use another trap to special summon something from my graveyard, which is Professor Dig. Digema. I'll call him Dig. But he's good because he can change a monster that my opponent controls into defense position or attack position, and while he's on the field, or while there is an S-Force monster in its column, they cannot change its battle position. This is good because I could also use cards such as Book of Moon, because it doesn't specify that they have to be face up. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters cannot change its battle position. So if I played this with Book of Moon, they would be locked in face down. I could stack that on top of S-Force Justice if they were played in one of those 3 monster zones, attack one of their 3 cards if they had 3 out there, banish it, and only have to deal with one of the card effects. Now, you know, that's in best case scenario of me drawing that many Book of Moons and being able to still play my combo. But that wouldn't typically happen. So I switched their Bysteel monster into defense, and that essentially protects my back row. Because 2,500, it's not a whole lot, but it's still a lot for, you know, basic monsters. I was able to use Aura Fist to to try and banish his monster. Unfortunately, he was able to protect it, but I could use my ability to save my monster from being destroyed. He brings Albaz onto the field, and at first, you know, I was a bit nervous about that, but by putting Rappa on the field, I could special summon, getting another special summon, getting Rappa onto the field. There's just so much going on here, guys. Nightmare Phoenix. I went ahead and got rid of that to bring out Nightmare Unicorn, and I didn't really need this, but I went from Nightmare Unicorn. Actually, no, I did need it for access code. By going ahead and making both of these link summons, since Nightmare Phoenix is fire and Nightmare Unicorn is dark, I could use both of those as material to banish things on the field. So I try to banish the card once, he blocks it, but then since I had brought out Nightmare Unicorn, I could use that as material too. Go ahead and get rid of him to bring out the World Sea Dragon, which in my opinion is a little underrated. Bring him back out onto the field. Bring out Platina. Okay. This part is insane to me though. So pay attention to what I have. Okay. He brings out Branded Fusion, so I'm already sweating bullets. He goes into the battle phase because he can beat both my monsters. Attacks this with that, attacks that with this. S-Force Bridgehead. When this card is activated, not that part, you can activate this effect. That monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Not that one either. There it is. When an opponent's monster declares an attack on your S-Force monster in its same column, you can activate... No, wait, no, that's not it either. Okay, wait. Now I'm starting to trip. He punches that. Oh, okay, yeah. I remember now. I remember now. Let me cut that section. Cut in here. This was insane. This one trap, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one S-Force monster you control. Move that target to another of your main monster zones. You'll notice that this monster, its attack right now is red because it is being dropped by 600 because of Platina. S-Force Specimen allows me to move one of my monster cards to another monster zone. I think you see what's going to happen here. Exactly 300. I cannot tell you how excited I was when that happened. I wish I could have reiterated the excitement of this fight the first time it happened. But again, unfortunately, I was not recording at that point. But I hope you guys did still enjoy. I'm going to make a new video on this deck later. I've been working on it, revamping it. I've been making a lot of new decks. So I'm hoping to make a video on a couple of these further down the line. But for now, I've been Coffee Bean, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you baristas later.